What is the funniest adult innuendo from a childhood movie you didn't catch as a kid? In The Grinch there's a scene where they explain that 2 babies are delivered to their parents from the sky in baskets with umbrellas. One of the baskets lands in front of a house and the dad finds it and yells something like, "Honey, our baby's here," and then he takes a puzzled look at the baby and says, "Looks just like your boss." UHH. Or when the Grinch floats down as a baby and lands in the tree outside his 2 moms' house, and they're having a swingers party. It even shows the guests throwing their keys into a jar full of other keys. In the movie Quest for Camelot, when the main character meets the 2-headed dragon for the first time, he asks what they are. They respond, "The best reason why cousins shouldn't get married." My dad's favorite line from any movie ever. Didn't get it for years. A lot of classic Cartoon Network shows were filled with them. I recently watched the Powerpuff Girls for the first time since I was a kid, and my favorite was an episode called Members Only. The sheer amount of Freudian innuendo they managed to shove into this episode is astounding. The girls want to join an all-male group of superheroes. They get kicked out, and immediately after the men are attacked by a red-hot rod from space that transforms into a giant hairy man. He has some of the best lines ever, such as, "Witness the coming of Muscumax, breaker of men and taker of worlds, be there any true men among thee, stand forth and bring thy manhood against mine own." So we might see WHO has the upper hand on the measuring stick, and then Muscumax beats the crap out of them with a bunch of phallic objects. It gets better. Fools, I feed upon your expulsions of manliness. The more manhood you bring against me, the harder I become. And then the girls beat him by using furious flaming feline, literally using a pea to beat him. The episode ends with the girls putting the male superheroes into dresses. I'm paraphrasing from memory. There was an episode where the professor was saying how the girls were made as an accident in the lab, and the girl he was talking to said, "That's what my parents said about me," and he just has this shocked face on. As a good user pointed out, the girl actually says, "Don't worry professor, I was an accident too." Space Jam. When the therapist asks Huey if there's anywhere else he has trouble performing, and getting an emphatic no from Patrick. Took me a couple years before it dawned on me. If you give me my skill back, I'll never date Madonna again. Charles Barkley. Praying in Church in Space Jam. Wasn't a childhood movie. It was Johnny Bravo. I think he takes one of his girlfriends to her kid's birthday party, and she playing around with the kids trying to hit the pinata blindfolded. She stops and says, "I can't remember the last time I had this much fun with a blindfold on." Oh wait, yes I do. There was another episode of Johnny Bravo where he's stranded on an island and the tribe there tries doing the whole virgin sacrifice to the volcano gods, but once he gets tossed in, the volcano spits him out. In Roberts, the father is running down the street yelling, "I'm gonna be a dad," because his son is about to be born. When he gets home, a delivery truck is just leaving, and his wife says, "Oh, honey, I'm sorry, you missed the delivery, but that's okay. Making the baby is the fun part," and holds up the box they are given with the parts to build their child with. In Hocus Pocus, when the witches are getting onto the bus and Winifred tells the bus driver that they desire children, and the bus driver replies, "Hey, that may take me a couple of tries, but I don't think it'll be a problem." I watched it recently and was like, "Yee, that joke flew the frick over my head during my entire childhood." In Space Jam, Bugs Bunny acts like a wooden board after Lola flirts with him. Did not understand that until much later. The intro to Road to El Dorado, when the 2 armadillo jump behind a bush and the bush shakes violently for 5 seconds. Then an entire family of armadillo jump out. As a kid I thought they were playing hide and seek or something, and they had just found the babies. In Goonies, when they're trying to glue the statue's dong back on, Mikey says, "Guys, that's my mom's favorite piece." Mouth says, "You wouldn't be here if it wasn't." The first time it clicked for me, I nearly pee myself. It literally took me 20 years to realize the pirate's name was a dong joke. So ashamed. In Aladdin and the King of Thieves, when the thieves raid the wedding, the ground is shaking because of a stampede, and the genie says, "I thought the ground wasn't supposed to shake until the honeymoon." In Aladdin, when he falls into the window with all the women that didn't want anything to do with his broke butt, that was a brothel. Hercules, Disney, when Hercules first meets Meg in the river garden. Pardon me, my good. Looks in direction of RG genitalia, sir. I'll have to ask you to release that young. Looks toward Meg. Meg, keep moving Junior. Huck, lady. I only recently realized that sugar honey iced tea in Madagascar stands for crap. Give it a peck like you're kissing your sister. And then he smashes the plane into the ground. In Wallace and Gromit, Wallace is stripped of his clothes and his manhood is only covered by a box. The box may contain nuts printed on the side. Rocko's Modern Life. They had a restaurant called the Choky Chicken, a game called Spank the Monkey, and at one point Rocko worked as an adult phone line operator. Mrs. Big Head calls in and he is saying oh baby, with a sign behind him that says remember, be hot, be naughty, be courteous. They weren't even trying to hide it, and it still took me 15 years later to realize. There was an episode where the dog fell in love with a mop. Rocko heard a noise in the garage and as he went to open the door you could hear squeak 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 squealy. You then see the exhausted dog laying next to the damp mop. The implication that Ms. Piggy and Long John Silver had a private history in Muppet Treasure Island. Hello, Luong John. Not a movie, but there's an episode of SpongeBob where there's a female seahorse tied up outside of the Krusty Krab. Some guy comes up, presumably high AF, and thinks it's a kiddie ride. The camera pans away as he says I can't find the coin slot. Here it is, the seahorse whinnies and back kicks him into oblivion. In The Great Muppet Caper, there is a scene in a restaurant where Gonzo is going from table to table hawking souvenir photos to get cash. He goes to a table where an old man is sitting with a hot young woman. He offers a photo and the man declines. Gonzo says, "It'd make a great memento for you and your wife." The man says, "My wife isn't feeling very well." Gonzo looks at the woman sympathetically and says, "Oh, that's too bad. Maybe she should be at home." The man angrily says, "My wife is at home." Gonzo stammers awkwardly. Next table. Totally confused me as a kid. Not to mention Janice's line. So I told him, "Listen, buddy, I don't take my clothes off for anybody, even if it is artistic." This is from the Muppets Take Manhattan. GMC had the line about her laying naked on the beach. Shrek. So that's Farquaad's castle? Donkey. Yep, that's the place. Shrek. Do you think he might be compensating for something? Later in the movie. Fiona, you know what? Stop it. Stop it, both of you. You know you're just jealous that you'll never measure up to a great ruler like Lord Farquaad. Shrek. Well, princess, maybe you're right, but I'll let you do the measuring when you see him tomorrow, or honestly anything from this movie. The scene in the original Ghostbusters when a ghost unzips Dan Aykroyd's pants in the bedroom and a little something is implied. Never got it. Watched the movie as an adult before the remake was released and freaked out that I had watched that as a kid. Possess woman. I want you inside me. It sounds like there's at least 3 people in there already. Little kid me didn't understand the inside me reference. Only the silliness of Bill Murray's answer. Beauty and the Beast. The Beast is thinking of a gift for Belle. He's asking Cogsworth for advice on what a man would give to a woman in the real world. Cogsworth. Flowers. Chocolates. Promises you don't intend to keep. Not really an innuendo, but definitely funnier now I'm older. In the Scooby-Doo film when Shaggy says his favorite girl name is Mary Jane. The entirety of Rango, like the scene where he has to explain how Rattlesnake Jake is his half-brother. He says his mom had an interesting dating life. I can't believe no one's mentioned the veggie corn cob joke in Ratatouille. In a scene where Linguini is caught hiding in the restaurant freezer and explains he was just familiarizing himself with the vegetables, Chef Skinner yells after him as he runs out, "One can get too familiar with vegetables, you know." I used to watch that with my siblings when I was younger. I always laughed at the way he said vegetables. I don't think everyone else was. In Jack Jack Attack, when Jack Jack's babysitter asked Syndrome what the S on his suit stand for, he said, "Sitter, yeah, sitter." Originally I was gonna have initials for babysitter, but then I would be going around with a big BS and you could understand why I couldn't go with that. I only understood that reference recently, haha. The scene in The Lion King where Nala gives Simba the eyes took me until my late teens. I've always been a bit slow. My mom never liked that look on Nala. I didn't understand until I became an adult. She said it was inappropriate for kids every time I watched it. Matilda, what are you reading? Moby Dong. Moby what? In 101 Dalmatians, when Roger and Anita tell Cruella de Vil that they were having kids, she replies with, well, accidents do happen. Then they followed up with the news that they're having puppies as well. Cruella replies with, well, you have been a busy boy, haven't you? Guess it's more of a general adult joke, but the name Farquaad in Shrek was written meaning fuckward in reference to Michael Eisner or something. It made the movie so much funnier. Shrek was the ex-head of Disney, giving Disney the biggest middle finger imaginable. For the most part, I think it succeeded. From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, when Casey feels uncomfortable spending the night in the sewer. Donatello, he's claustrophobic. Casey Jones, hey, I've never looked at another man in my life. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? The UHH Patter Cake Scene. Ghostbusters 2, 1989. Egon, I'd like to perform a gynecological exam on the mother. Peter, who wouldn't? 9-year-old me. Whoosh. Pretty much all of Fenders, played by Robin Williams. Lines in Roberts. His performance is the only reason I like that movie. Basically Robin Williams in any kid's movie. I don't know if this counts, but in Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, after he gets bitten by the super spider and goes to bed, when he wakes up with enhanced vision and muscle tone, Aunt May asks him any change. Peter looks down his pants and replies, yeah, big change. Monster House. Jenny, there, waves flashlight at chandelier. Jenny, well, if those are the teeth, and that's the tongue, then that must be the uvula. Chowder, oh, so it's a girl house. Jenny looks at him, what? Chowder, oh, so it's a girl house. My husband and I watched this in the theater with our then 5-year-old daughter, and we snickered, and my daughter was like, but that's not funny. Oh, yes it was. Shrek 2, when he's running from the guards on a white Bronco. There's a bit in Cars that goes like this. McQueen, Doc has a piston cup. Mater, he did what in his cup? Also lightning getting flashed by his fangirls. From the recent Lego Batman movie, Robin, my name's Richard Grayson. My friends call me Dong. Batman, yeah, kids can be cruel sometimes. My friends and I were the only ones laughing in the whole theater. Frick, that's actually really funny. Maybe I should see this movie. In Osmosis Jones, there is a statue of a sperm cell with our founder engraved on it. Toy Story 3, Mr. Potato Head. Hey, nobody takes my wife's mouth except me. The Flash, I'm the fastest man alive. Hawkgirl, which might explain why you can't get a date. The Flash thinks about it for a moment. Hey. The entirety of the movie Grease. Not only did I watch it many times around the age of 10, but my dance class did a choreographed dance to the song Greased Lightning. Full, nasty version, during our dance recital. The Mask with Jim Carrey. Man, that movie is full of innuendos. To be fair, I was a very sheltered child. There's a scene where he is pulling balloons out of his pockets and making balloon animals. He reaches into one pocket and pulls out a used condom and says, oops, wrong pocket. I had no idea until I was probably on my 20s that it was a condom. So many more as well. Considering the source material of that movie, it's beyond tame. The comic is one of the most gloriously violent things in all existence. When Wayne and Garth say swing, simulating an erection, I thought that it meant something was cool or awesome, and 9-year-old me used to point her crotch at stuff and yell swing. Nobody stopped me. The H from Toy Story. A crap ton of lines and misses. Doubtfire. She has a power tool in the bedroom. I'm surprised she hasn't chipped a tooth. I am paraphrasing there. Took me until I was around 18 to get that one. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.